Hey guys, welcome back to another Duviri Max Out episode. Today we are going to be looking at Nidus as per the request of someone in my comments a couple weeks ago. This is actually one that I have been very much looking forward to. Nidus is a frame that I have wanted to get a build for a while now, and yeah, it seems like the perfect excuse, so thanks to the person who suggested this in the comments. And to go with that, I thought we'd take an infested weapon that has recently received its Incarnate upgrade. Well, for me at least, it's recently received it. So yeah, that's going to be the Torid. We need to gather up the parts that we're going to need to get the adapter for it, and then whack it on. Now, I've heard some pretty good things about the Torid's Incarnate form, so I'm pretty excited to use it. And yeah, I think obviously Nidus, being the type of frame that he is, he can group enemies together, and that's primarily what we're going to be basing him on, and obviously just not dying as well, because he's very good at that. So yeah, that's where we're at with this. Secondary wise, I'm going to be using the Kuva Seer, still going through our kind of weapons that we need to get up to rank 40, so we're on to the Kuva weapons now. We did the last kind of Tenet weapon we wanted to do, which was the Spire X last week. And yeah, this week we're going to be moving on to some of the Kuva weapons. So I thought I'd start off with the Seer, as I do in fact have a Riven mod for it. We might have to do a bit of re-rolling on it. It's pretty rubbish as it is. We do have multi-shot on there, but like I said, it's unrolled. Rank 0, so yeah, we'll probably need to do a bit on this one. But as you can see here, the status chance is actually relatively high to begin with, so that's quite nice. We don't have any innate kind of multi-shot on here, which is a bit sad, but you know, we can live with that, I think. And we'll obviously have to install all of that good stuff as well. And then lastly, we've got Sun and Moon, which is the last melee weapon that we need to kind of get a maxed out build for from the Duviri update. So once this is done, we can then move on to some other stuff. Not sure what, mind you. We'll probably do some of the Tenet weapons here as well, or potentially glaives. I know some people recommended glaive in the comments as well, so we'll probably look at that. But yeah, Sun and Moon for this episode. And yeah, that's kind of it. So for Nidus, I already have kind of a basic build, which I've been using, or had used, for a bit of endo farming, just to kind of scoop enemies together, but it is by no means min-max, as you can probably tell. But generally speaking, we are going to be just revolving it around lava, which, as you can see, is going to pull in enemies from a 33.6 meter radius. It has a tiny bit of duration. I don't want the duration to be very high on this, and we're probably going to try and drop the duration even further. Currently, I only have a rank 8, or rank 4, actually, Fleeting Expertise, because it works well with another rank 4 Streamline to get a perfect 175% efficiency without wasting duration. But we are going to need to get our hands on just a basic Fleeting Expertise that we can max out and then, you know, throw on to get the minimum duration possible on here. So that is the plan. So yeah, we're going to go ahead, get this guy maxed out as per the usual format, see what we come up with. It's just going to be revolving around tankiness, and then yeah, range, probably a bit of strength, max efficiency. We probably don't even need max efficiency, to be honest. In fact, maybe we'll sack a bit of efficiency. We don't need to put Streamline on, just Fleeting Expertise to lose the duration. So yeah, let's go ahead, get this guy nice and ranked up, and see what we end up with. Alright guys, so this is the build that we've ended up with on Nidus. It's a bit different to what I had in mind, but we're going to give it a go and see how it pans out. So you can see here, rather than opt for a minimum duration build, I've actually just gone ahead and stuck Lava Burst on, which is going to allow us to spam our second ability because we can just detonate and recast instantly, and it's going to provide us with a decent level of toxin damage in an 8 meter radius, which is obviously upped to 20 meters with the level of range that we have. Now, I haven't maxed the range out. Obviously, we're still missing Alga Reach from this build, and I think for now I'm actually going to leave that off. But you know, we could increase the range even further. But I think it's fine what we have. To be honest, I don't see it being too much of an issue. So yeah, that's what we're working with. Now, I've also replaced my third ability, the Tether, with Sickening Pulse. This is going to be a bit of an experiment. I'm kind of curious to see how this works out, as it's going to basically increase the number of status procs that are affecting a target. And considering that we're going to be inflicting toxin damage from our second now, I think it might be an interesting addition to the build. If it's totally rubbish and does nothing, then obviously we'll take it off. But when we combine it with things, you know, like the double status effect decree, or double status effect damage decree, sorry, and also close contagion, where we're spreading status effects around, I think this might actually be a very useful tool, but we'll have to test it out to see. If it's not, we'll probably just end up going back to Tether, because I don't honestly think that Nourish, which is what we usually put on our builds, is going to hugely help us here in terms of the kind of build we're going for. It might do, obviously, it provides a level of viral damage, but yeah, for the most part, I think this might be interesting. So that's why we're running with that. Now, I've also gone ahead, got on our Arcane Energize and Arcane Guardian here, maxed out for some extra durability. I'm going to be playing around as well with Umbral Vitality and Intensify. I might swap Intensify out for Umbral Fiber. We'll have to see. But I'm going to leave it as this for now. I've also gone ahead and thrown on some spare Archon shards that I had. So we've got an 3 ambers here on casting speed, because, you know, why the hell not? And then I've also got 2 Asia Archon shards on 50 energy max. So yeah, just to give ourselves a bit of extra buffer when we proc our Arcane Energize and obviously get our energy pool up nice and high. Those Archon shards are going to provide us with a bit of extra. So yeah, that's basically what we're rolling with on that. So now what we need to do is go ahead and rank up our Torid, Seer, and our, not Exodiazor, that's what I was using to rank up Nidus, Sun and Moon. Yep, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I also need to gather up the rest of the materials I need to make the Incarnon adapter for the Torid, so I'll be doing that off camera also. And yeah, we can then go ahead and have a look at what kind of Incarnon upgrades I'm going to be using for this. So yeah, I guess I will catch you guys in a second once this is all done, and then we'll run through the builds. Alright guys, so I think we are now done. So let's take a look at what we've gone for on our Torid here in terms of Incarnon. So we've got ourselves the increased damage and use ammo directly from multi-shot, just for the full-on, you know, battering effect. The ammo capacity and efficiency of the Torid is actually pretty damn good, considering you can get to the Incarnon form in about 2 body shots. It's really, really quite good for that. So I'm not worried about ammo. So yeah, this seems like the obvious choice. And then we've also got here renewed horror. So the lingering damage field duration on first shot is doubled. Now that's kind of maybe the better out of the other options. It's not great, but considering that the first shot is kind of going to be, or the first or second shot are the only shots we're actually going to get off with the Torid before we take it into Incarnon form, it is actually going to work in some way, shape or form. And if we happen to get it with Nidus, I'm not saying we will, but if we happen to, we can obviously pull all the enemies into that lingering field and deal more damage that way, so that's quite nice. And then I've gone with a mix of crit and status chance at the end there. You can see here on the Incarnon form, which is what we're going to be in most of the time, our crit chance is already up over 100%, and we can get a few orange crits as well, and our status chance there massively up at 130%. So all in all, going to do some decent damage with this thing. This is the build that I have currently settled on, but we may alter this depending on how it performs. I do perhaps want to put viral on this rather than corrosive, but you know, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, all I have to do that is actually just swap out the high voltage mod here. Might be worth putting primed cryo rounds on instead, just for that, you know, big damage boost. But like I said, we'll test it out, see how it goes. Sniper ammo mutation, it just happened to fit, and I couldn't really think of anything else here that would have been worth it. Maybe terminal velocity, but, you know, it's not great. Again, we couldn't put on Sinister Reach. Considering that the Incarnon is a beam, it would seem logical that you should be able to put that on, but apparently you can't. So yeah, this is what we've settled on. And then Kuva Seer, similarly to previous builds, although we do have this Riven mod that needs rolling, I should point that out right now. We've only got extra damage on this right now, so plus 195% damage, which, you know, is pretty decent. It's more than Hornet Strike's going to give us. But yeah, we'll be re-rolling this a bit more, I think, to try and get something a bit beefier. And then lethal momentum for the projectile speed. Everything else geared towards a mix of crit and status, as we usually do for our Steel Path circuit builds. All in all, I think it should probably be pretty good. We could put on... no, we can't put on Fulmination, I lied. I thought you probably could on this, considering it does have a radial effect, but yeah. Kind of weird. I always get confused about when they, you know, actually allow for those kind of mods, but whatever. And then Sun and Moon, usual build here. I've put on primed reach. It's basically more than doubles the reach of the swords. It's actually a very fun weapon to use. I found I really enjoyed using Sun and Moon. The Mountain's Edge dual Nakana style is actually a really nice and kind of fluid forward momentum stance. So yeah, very fun to use. So if we get this, then definitely something to consider. But that's the overall build, guys. So I think what we'll do, we'll just quickly go ahead and get some Fashion Frame on the go. And then on from that, we'll go ahead and try and get one of these things, or multiple of these things, in the Steel Path circuit. So I will catch you guys in a second. Alright guys, here he is, our Nidus. I had a bit of trouble with this one, to be honest, and the infested theme of Nidus is a tricky one to kind of, sync up with armor and Sayandana, but I've done my best here, and I think it's turned out pretty nicely. So let's just run through it. I haven't gone with any kind of sigils, front or back, just because they kind of clutter things up a bit. And this particular skin, the Night Hunter skin, which is a really nice skin, so thanks MZ3 for coming up with this one. It's got, lines and various detailing on it that means that there's not a lot of space that would benefit from having a sigil put on it. So I've just left it blank as is. We've got our two clan emblems here on the shoulders, and that's about it. In terms of attachments, we've gone with the Embolist set. It's kind of the obvious choice with Nidus, not going to lie. It just works very well with the infested theme, and its colour does match in very well. Like, you wouldn't even think to notice the Embolist chest plate. It just adds more detail to the front of the frame, which is really nice. The Sayandana was the tricky thing here. Now, I've gone with the Scylla Sayandana. There are a number of infested theme Sayandanas on this. However, a lot of them are fairly outlandish. They're really big in your face, or they're doing a lot of, like, glitchy stuff. I know it's meant to, like, throb and move around and whatever, but for the most part, yeah, they're kind of just not what I was going for. I wanted something a bit flatter and a bit subtler and potentially somewhat more symmetrical. So, there's various other things as we go down here that we could have used, including, the wings. I was tempted to use the Despot cape, as it's a pretty nice cape, but, it is what it is. So yeah, you got stuff like the face Sayandana. It's a bit bold. The colouring on it isn't as matte as, the frame is. It's very shiny, it's metallic, so didn't want to go for that. What else? We got the Iliac Sayandana. Again, kind of sticking out quite a lot. I didn't want that. I wanted something a bit more low profile. There are a few other options. I'm not going to go through, all of them. This was another option as well, but again, it's quite bold. It's almost too big for the skin as well. Then you've got stuff like this, and there's just not many of them that actually fit in very well. The Night Hunter would have been maybe my go-to big statement Sayandana, but again, like I said, was going for something a bit more low profile. So yeah, in the end, we just went with the Scylla Sayandana. Again, like I said, there's more to go through there, but yeah, we'll leave that for now. And I have, in fact, put on a ephemera here. I've gone Vengeful Toxin. Kind of works well with Nidus, to be honest. No matter what color scheme you're going for, Vengeful Toxin just seems to be pulled off with Nidus. So yeah, that's what we've gone with, guys. So now all that remains is for us to continue with the normal format, see if we can get our Nidus or one of our weapons in a game. And then, we'll take it from there. So I'll catch you guys in a second if that happens. Alright, guys. So once again, on our trusty Revenant, we've got ourselves the Torid here. So we're going to go ahead and give that one a go. I'm a bit curious to see how it's going to perform. I'm not going to take it forever. I might even just do like 1 or 2 rounds because I am running out of time, actually. So yeah, I do want to crack on, try and track down our frame for the week. But yeah, let's just see how this one goes. See what the feel of it is, and then we'll move on. Alright guys, so this is the first mission, but even so, my initial thoughts on this are, this weapon is pretty strong. Not gonna lie. If the enemies bunch up, like, at all, it's just, like, everyone dies, which is kind of nice. And obviously, as soon as we run out of our Incarnon, it takes about 2 seconds to get it back up. So that's nice. For some reason my scoping in has failed me here. I don't know if that's just a thing with the Torid or what. But yeah, when I'm in Incarnon form, I can't seem to scope in. Perhaps that is just something that the weapon comes with. But, yeah. Guess this kind of just goes to show these weapons are pretty insane. And yeah. I don't really have to think much with it, to be honest. It's very nice. I imagine this could carry me absolutely miles, but as I said, we're going to reset after this and carry on seeing if we can get ourselves the Nidus Prime. Alright guys, here he is, our Nidus Prime. Let's just have a quick look at the build. There we go. So we're going to be spamming our second ability, seeing what we can do. Let's see if we've got anything to accompany it with. It doesn't look like it, which is a bit unfortunate, but you know, hey-ho. Let's take the Sonos Prime, I think. Maybe the Orvius? Or the Zorus, sorry, not the Orvius. Cool. Alright, well. Let's see. Do we get anything decent here? Close Contagion, right off the bat. Look at that. Wow, this could be pretty lethal, huh? Let's give it a go, guys. Let's see how it works out. Alright, guys. So, right off the bat, I'd say it's doing pretty well. Considering the amount of decrees we have, like, you know, it's not a whole lot of decrees. And our first ability can rack up our stacks pretty quickly. The one thing I would say is that armored targets, as per, you know, these guys, not the easiest to deal with, but that will improve over time. Yeah, we're going to run out of energy trying to kill this one guy, which is a bit unfortunate, as the weapons we happen to have picked up in this are not great at all. But we'll continue. Might just take a while to begin with, and then we'll have to choose our decrees wisely. So yeah, all in all, guys, so far seems to be going pretty well. I'm going to keep it going, and I'll catch you guys back in perhaps when we come around to do the next defense mission. So yeah, let's do a full rotation, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, so we are now on to the next round of defense. This has been pretty interesting so far, not going to lie. I've been very much enjoying it. And we've just got twofold Torment for the double status effect damage. Okay. Right, let's go ahead and pick up the decree fragments for this map before we go ahead and begin. I have actually found some interesting synergies with some other decrees, which I hadn't really thought about. So, as far as I'm aware, Nidus' first ability, his Stomp, that actually counts as melee damage. So any decrees that... sorry, hold on, I'm just listening. Over here? Yeah. So any decrees that provide melee damage actually like, affect that, right? So let's go ahead and do that. I've already got some cold things on. So yeah, let's see how this goes now. So second time around, enemy level's going to be a bit higher. I'm going to go ahead and just make sure my fourth is up. Our fourth, obviously with the maggots, is also a really nice distraction as well. And we can also use Unairu to strip the armor of enemies that get sucked in. Now you can see that I am getting Undying quite a lot, but I can get my stacks back up very, very quickly. It's not a problem. In fact, what I probably should be doing is putting my second ability up here. Yeah. And I can use my second ability to strip the armor off and just blow them up. And yeah, then it's basically just rinse and repeat, guys. Not only that though, but because we have you know, close contagion, stuff like that. Any enemies that get pulled towards me, I do have the heat decree, so I apply heat damage to any enemies that I am near, which just creates even more status damage. And yeah, it's kind of insane, to be honest. Like, I am never going to die. This is why we need to strip armor sometimes, because a few enemies just have an armor value that is slightly too high for us. There we go. And yeah, we can just kind of keep going through as normal. So all in all, guys, this is a pretty good one as well. We've started with a few strong frames, I feel like. But yeah, Nidus definitely probably could be improved. I might take off my third ability. Obviously, you probably haven't even seen me use my third ability, the double, well, not the double status effects one, but you know, extra status damage. It's not something that I've really been paying much attention, because I either don't need it or it just uses a lot of energy, and it's, you know, it's not necessary, strictly speaking. So but yeah, it is these Thrax ones that cause us a bit of grief, but it's not too bad. It's kind of frustrating. But yeah, maybe we'll keep going a bit longer, guys. I've actually already reached the cap for this week, so there is no need for me to continue at this point, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see perhaps how far you could take this. Alright, guys, so I decided to leave it after that defense mission. It was a bit of a long one still. What I would say is that the exterminates, you know, the excavations, everything else bar defense went very quickly, surprisingly quickly, considering how slow the defense missions were. But the thing to remember is obviously that in defense, as long as you keep the defense objective alive and you can get through it, you can just keep progressing after that. And Nidus is more than kitted to do that. He just stays alive forever because of his Undying, his passive, and he can kill enemies, especially when they're bunched together. So the more enemies there are, the more damage Nidus does. That's generally how he works. So, you know, bear that in mind when you are running him and you are perhaps doing a defense mission. You're thinking, why is this going so slowly? Because there will be a few enemies that will take a lot less damage. And you saw there, obviously, that I didn't have any weapons that I had kitted out at all. That was all carried through by basically just Nidus himself. Nothing else really was doing any damage whatsoever. It was just the frame. So definitely something worth considering. If you do happen to get Nidus and another weapon, for example, that Torid we got earlier on, it would have just been utter destruction, and it would have been so fast. But unfortunately, we didn't get a good weapon, but, you know, eventually we'll be getting these all the time, because week on week, we are giving ourselves an additional 3 weapons that we can use. And yeah, soon we'll get to the point where we will have a weapon pretty much every single time, and I'm very much looking forward to that. But yeah, overall, Nidus, another very, very good pick. Completely undying, completely insane damage, and also crowd control as well as healing. Absolute monster. And yeah, I think the fashion frame options for him are also pretty good as well. So all in all, yeah, not too shabby at all. Thanks guys again for, you know, sticking through these episodes. I appreciate all the support recently. At time of recording, we are edging ever closer to 4,000 subscribers, and you know, that to me is crazy because I was happy when I reached 1,000, so 4,000 is, you know, that's brilliant. Thank you guys so much for the support. I am going to be obviously continuing to release videos where I can, so yeah, appreciate that a lot. But yeah, once again, if you guys do have any suggestions for frames, for weapons, throw them down in the comments below. I do want to put a caveat on it now, because I know some people have requested frames and you probably haven't seen them pop up yet. I do have a list that I am working through of ones that have already been suggested, but more than that, if you have suggested a frame that doesn't have its primed counterpart released yet, it is unlikely you will see that soon, because I am focusing on the primed weapons and frames first, because obviously if I focus on a non-primed frame, then it's going to come out again in the future as a prime frame, and I'm going to have to redo all of this for that frame. So I want to avoid that. So if you are requesting frames down in the comments and they are not primed frames yet, maybe way down the line, obviously I will do them when they come out. Like I said, I have a list. But for the time being, I am just focusing on the primed variants of frames, so I don't have to duplicate any of my work. But yeah, again, If you want to make suggestions, down in the comments below, guys. Otherwise, if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. I'll see you later, guys.